Okay, you're all set.
All right, great. Well, I want to welcome everybody to the Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, February 28th. Let's call to order and all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, thank you everybody and welcome. So I think this is the first everybody in person meeting in a while, so it's great to have everybody back together again. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from February 8th, 2022.
So moved. Second.
Any amendments or change to the minutes as presented? Yep. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. I think just a quick first Selectmen's update, and I do have my computer. Hold on a second, I apologize. So I just thought really the big update, well, two things. First of all, as of today, the mask requirements have been lifted from all town facilities. So as we went to a mask optional, if people feel comfortable wearing them, we urge you to do so. It was no longer required. And that went into force starting today. And then I just wanted to put up real quickly, obviously, we had on February 15th, the referendum for the 3 projects. And, very good turnout from Madison voters. I think this is kind of one of the higher turnouts for a town budget or any type of referendum that we've had, certainly more than budget referendums, which are really usually it's like 3 times what a budget referendum would be. And just to highlight, that each project passed with good margins, with Academy receiving 55% of the vote, the Madison School Renewal Plan, 56% of the vote, and then Island Avenue, the sale of Island Avenue was 73% of the vote. So we were grateful that people turned out to vote. We did get, I don't have it on here, but we did get a fair number of absentee ballots. I don't have the totals here. So you can see that the absentee ballots, people took advantage of voting if they were away during February. And just overall, I want to give thanks to the town clerk and the registrar of voters, and all the election workers who did a great job managing the process, and I think everything went smoothly, and did a great job getting the results done quite quickly that night as well.
Really quickly.
So with that, we'll talk later in this discussion about kind of what are the next steps. The board is going to have to go through a number of different things with building committees and everything else now that these have been approved by the voters. So we'll talk about that later. That is kind of.
Can they see your slides, by the way? Lauren, can you just confirm that you guys can see them out in Stratus?
Yeah.
They can't see it. We're not seeing. Usually we see.
Oh, did I not do the share?
It's not shared.
Oh, it should now share. Oh, you know why? Because.
Here's your referendum result.
Were you in the alternative one? There it goes.
I can't even, I don't know when to say something like so that is the referendum results. I apologize. I thought it was being shared. I was just staring at the screen. Just so everybody can see this, this is all available on the town clerk's website also if you want to get the details on the actual numbers. And with that, I will stop sharing. That was kind of my update. And any other liaison reports or selectmen comments?
I have none.
I have the senior citizens. I just want to. Good news is the senior center is totally open. They're actually starting to put more programs together and all. And Austin, our director of senior services, wanted me to make sure I remind people that May 15th is the deadline for signing up for tax relief for seniors and the disabled. And then they're looking for talented senior artists, and they really want to decorate the senior center with a really nice. Paintings. So they're putting an SOS out to seniors to come and help them paint their artwork.
That's cool.
And that's all I have. Oh, I just want to add to what Becky said with the referendum. I feel as selectmen we should be proud of the job we did in getting the word out. I think I don't think, if anybody come and complained to me, I was able to quickly point out things we had done, and they agreed. I think we did it, I think I know, we knew it was gonna be, I wasn't happy about the date. I actually was in the hospital the night of the vote. Thank goodness for absentee ballots, I didn't know.
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
It
it
did
just,
work.
just
Yeah, wow.
didn't know, I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. So it worked for me, but I think we did a good job, but you know what? It's not our role we don't have to be out there telling people how to vote or what to do, or we like the idea or not. But we do have to make sure they have the information and that they know they've got to show up and vote. And I think this board and the staff did an incredible job. It was one of the best jobs of getting the word out, and that's why I think the turnout was better.
I wonder if our postcard man. So that was a nice
I know.
postcard.
Well, I know they got a lot of questions about it at the town clerk's office, so clearly people were reading it. So,
And people that don't understand for tech people, there was a link they could just actually put right into their
Yeah.
iPads,
Yeah.
get it. And I did do it online, it was very good.
Yeah, but the Super Bowl, the QR code.
yes,
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
it'll all be that way eventually.
I have to say though, to amplify what Doreen was just saying, I mean, I do feel like we did do a heck of a job getting the word out, getting the vote out. And I think we did it as a board, which was wonderful to see, bipartisanship, making that happen. And I've never seen the amount of chatter that I've seen on social media about these referendum questions. There was a lot of healthy discussion, which to me spoke to the community being interested in what we were putting forward. I thought that was tremendous.
Well, and people actually look back to the presentations that the school had done back in 2017.
Yeah.
So I think it was great. that
Information was
we were able-
accessible.
It was there,
Yeah.
and people actually wanted to see that and educate themselves, so they understood the whole story leading up to the 2018. So it was, I think, really good.
I guess I'd like to add my 2 cents to this discussion. I think preparation that the selectmen put in to prepare these projects, frame these projects for the public, should serve as a template going forward. I think this was the best research, publicized, more information available than any previous referendum that I recall. So I think whatever we did, I would hope we and our successors would be able to replicate.
So hopefully there's not another 100 million.
There's always another 100 million, Bruce.
We'll take a breath for a little while, right? On new news, the Marijuana Legalization Advisory Committee, forever henceforth known as MLAC,
Oh, interesting. Oh, all right.
because I'm gonna get tired of saying that.
Yeah, right.
So we had our first meeting, most everybody, and it's a big group, but most everybody was able to attend, a lot of productions. We chose, I think, 3 great members of the public. We're gonna get a really good input from them. We set our first public hearing, for March 15th at 7 o'clock. It will have to be Zoom because all of the spaces in town that are capable of holding the hundreds of attendees that we expect are taken. So we're all meeting rooms are booked, so we're going to do it on Zoom, even though we're in the new era of not wearing masks. So that posting is the legal notice is going out. We look forward to encourage everybody. Now, by the charge, we were supposed to have completed our work already and reported back in January. Clearly, that didn't happen.
You're an ambitious group, are you?
I am.
Are you getting
So-
into shape?
So I don't think we need to go to the length of opening the agenda, but I think the June 14th meeting is a good one because I'd like to have at least one other public hearing. So we take in the public input, we incorporate that into our recommendations, we test it again in the second public hearing, and then we bring that to the Board of Selectmen in the June 14th.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Isn't there some, decision at the time?
I think we're still okay. Well, I'll double check on that.
Yeah, I thought there was like some
like
date.
a window.
So there was a
April.
temporary stay that planning and zoning put on. I believe they can extend that if they want.
Well, would you have a date that you have to report back to them?
So they're sort of independent of what we're doing. So planning and zoning is gonna be ultimately the authority that decides on things, but ideally they'll do it with our input.
So it is a requirement for that. I just remember there was something.
Right. And if I've miscalculated that and we need to work to a faster timeline, I'll report that back. I think that gives us comfortably time to work on it.
Who's the MLAC, the chairman?
You all made me in charge of this mess.
How do we do that?
I don't remember doing that. Did we really?
We actually, the other committee, we actually got one of the citizens to do it, regular citizens to do it, I think. But we've got a much more controversial topic than we have.
I don't know if it's gonna be all that controversial, but anyway, so the work has started, and everybody's getting oriented around the legislation. We've got a couple of short form versions of the 390-page law that the committee is reviewing, and next step is that's
Nice to hear the progress.
How big is your committee?
go back and look, but it's 14 or 15 people. Which includes some staff dedicated and some staff that are on demand. Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other updates on? No? Okay, with that, we'll move on to citizens' comments. Lauren, we have any citizens' comments?
No one has their hand raised.
All right, great. Moving on, next item is a presentation from Madison Cinemas. And I think we have some guests joining us here. Excited to have them just update us on, their recent reopening and changes. We have new ownership and just to tell us kind of what the new business plan is. And so Lauren, we have Harold Blank, right?
Is this yours? This game? It's yours.
Oh, my still
If
sharing.
you just click on the attendees tab, I'm just curious to see who's.
Oh, yeah, do the view.
No, on top. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, can you just leave it there for a while?
No, maybe, oh, there it is.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Those very
Well, I think, can you show everybody that's on? Because,
That's what he's doing right now.
But do either,
No, 'cause
these
I
are
got-
participants.
Yeah.
well, who else is here from Madison Cinemas?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, hi,
Yeah.
Harold.
Are you the only one, or do we have more folks coming?
No, it's just that I had sent a note to my partner, but I guess there he is.
Great.
I'm learning this technology. It's nice to see everybody tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Hi. Well, I want to welcome you, and, just, it's a great opportunity to update the community on all the great things happening at the theater. We're so happy to see it reopened,
Yes.
and we're excited to see the next life of the theater downtown. So I'll let you maybe walk through a little bit some of the changes you guys are planning.
Okay, I'd be happy to start. My apology for my scratchy voice, but that's what it is right now. The other day, I guess it was about 2-3 days ago, Joe Courtney stopped by the theater to see it. Number one, because he helped the sale get through the SBA. Number two, the SVOG grant money, which was significant and probably saving the theater, because this theater very well had been gone if there was not some federal assistance. Number one, to pay the 2 years of operating the theater and keeping it heated and et cetera, and making some repairs that Arnold Gorlick had done, along with putting some money forth to begin the renovation, which we finished by putting some money in as well. And what we've done inside is really everything. It's really a brand new theater inside, from new floors and carpets and seats, brand new bathrooms, all nice and clean, new concession bar. So from the perspective of being new and clean, we think that's a terrific start, because actually today, I think people are more concerned about cleanliness than anything else. So it's something that both Bill and I really try very hard to do. And we get great accolades over in our Mystic Theater as being always clean. During the day, when the place is busy, there are kids always doing something. And we have to do that. It's what the expectation is of the guest. So we're going to do that. From a perspective of how the theater will operate, we're going to expand the programming. We're going to include families, which most of the films played before were specialty art movies. We'll play some blockbusters. We'll play documentaries. We'll play specialty films. We want, over the course of the year, to play movies or digital programming, special events that really pertain to everybody in the community of Madison and the adjoining communities of Guilford and Clinton. We want to be a good neighbor. And at that, I'll turn it over to Bill a little bit to talk about some of the concession stuff, some alcohol we're looking to do, and what we like to do in operating the theater from when a guest arrives to when he leaves. Go ahead, Bill.
Okay. Thank you for having us tonight, folks. One of the things that, I just wanted to point out, Harold had mentioned about more playing family pictures and kind of broadening our audience there. And I've been in the theater and I've been able to meet some of the nice folks in Madison. And we've gotten some nice feedback from some of the young families that were able to bring their children into that theater, where for the last many, many years, they have not been able to. So we've gotten good feedback for that. And I'm happy to see the younger families have the opportunity. And that does not mean that we not be able to bring other type of films, some of these event films that Harold's talking about, and some of these, like an artist series that we're running. But it is great to see the young families in the theater. And as Harold mentioned, many things have changed in our industry. One of them being the alcohol service that we are going to be asking for consideration here tonight. We put this program together over in Mystic about 6 years now. And I could say very proudly, we have not had one incident with it. It's really an extension of a couple's evening where they're going to go out and have dinner at one of hopefully nice restaurants right there in Madison. They come over, have a glass of wine to extend their evening and see a nice movie in a nice clean atmosphere. Both Harold and I are extremely passionate of what we do here, and I can tell you how both we are very excited to be in Madison. So we're going to ask for your consideration here to allow us to expand that concession into the alcohol, and also there'll be some smaller finger foods that are required by the state of Connecticut. So again, thank you for your consideration tonight.
Thank you, Bill. Madison's a very special town for me because my parents spent the last 25 years of their life down in Madison. They had moved from Waterbury, Connecticut, where they lived for a number of years. And I found that Madison was unique, that it was really a place where one could raise a family in a terrific atmosphere, and yet you're still only 2 hours from New York City or 2.5 hours from Boston, a few hours from the mountains of Vermont, New Hampshire. So as far as the geography of where it's located, it's really special. And I found the people special. And I think Bill kind of made mention of that in talking to some of the young families that have come to the theater. we're excited to be here. And if there's anything that you guys who sit on the board want us to do or talk about, we're happy to come anytime. We're going to try to work with the town where we can. We are headed to planning and zoning soon to talk about a little bit of the marquee and to be able to use that to the benefit of the theater, more as a marketing tool than just a sign. And we've met with planning and zoning, and we'll go see them. And we're not looking to be crazy with it. We're just looking to have it help us get over the hump, because the next year is still going to be difficult in this business. Just because we've gotten past Omicron and mask mandates are coming down, we in the industry see probably another 12 months before we really get back even close to 2019 numbers. And I don't think we'll ever get back to it. I think we've lost some moviegoers forever. And that's okay. We're going to do a good job, and we're going to show people out there that going to the movies is still a wonderful activity, and it's not crazy expensive. Certainly the prices have gone up, but we're going to be there to be a cornerstone in downtown and do what we can to make the community of Madison a better place to live. And that's pretty much it.
Well, I appreciate that. I think having not had that theater open for almost 2 years, I think it just has created a greater appreciation for the importance of having that as a centerpiece in our town. Because it not only is just, empty space we recognize is tough to fill at times, but it just continues to add to that vibrancy. Restaurants benefit, the bookstore, just the community benefits. I think that, people are going to be looking at movie theaters in a little bit different way these days than they might have in the past. So we're fortunate that you were able to, get that grant and take use of some of that federal funding. And we're all excited. I've only been there, I think when we toured a while back, it was still being worked on. So I haven't been in the final product yet.
We hope everybody comes down soon. I'd like to say one more thing and pay a little bit of thank you to the Davis family, because they recognize, along with the grant, along with a willing participant who's willing to go in there and put in a lot of hard work, Jerry Davis and his family are understanding landlords and are really going to help us over the next year to 2 years as we climb the ladder and hopefully get back. So I just like to say that he's really a wonderful landlord, and I know he cares for the Madison community as well, just like we do and just like you guys do too. So we're happy to be his tenant.
Great. Any questions from board members?
Well, I have to just say, so I have been there. I have seen a movie, and it was wonderful. So thank you. All the improvements you guys have made. My wife and I had our first date night at your movie theater. Fantastic. Just to get out of the house. I do have a silly question, if I may. When I was looking up movie times as a moviegoer, I used to always go on Fandango and find the Madison Arts Cinema, and I couldn't find you guys. Is that something that would be an improvement coming?
Yeah, probably in the next 2 weeks. I had a minor banking issue of where I want money to go. I ended up buying the corporation, and I bought a bank account, and I've just finished transferring stuff. So that'll probably take about a week. I've already registered into Fandango. So that will show up. And it took us a couple of weeks to gain access to the Facebook account that was there. And that we took over yesterday. We'll have big newsletters going out. It's been kind of a slow start, but that's okay. We're we're knocking off one thing at a time. But that's a very important note that we do need to be in Fandango because it's a lot of people go there.
That's how I watch my previews, so it's important.
Well, you can go to our website too and watch them. So,
But nice, the theater was wonderful, thank you.
Well, thank you. And just one thing I wanted to point out, I was 3 years old when my dad brought me into this and watching him build theaters throughout Connecticut. And so I'm very biased to movie theaters. And I just wanted to point out, and I thank everybody in the town for welcoming us, the importance of a movie theater. Because once it's gone, what other business could hit every single demographic like a movie theater can? They could have put many things in there, a high-end restaurant, they could have put a Chuck E. Cheese and anything in between, but it wasn't going to hit every demographic. The way my partner books that theater, there'll be so many different programs in there, and on any given day, any demographic will be able to come in and see a show there. And again, we're thrilled to be there for them.
I just want to say, I haven't been there. I think E.T.'s playing there.
Yeah.
I saw that, yeah.
I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think you've sensed already how much people in Madison are thrilled that you're here. Whoever found you folks, whoever brought you, whether it be Arnold or the Davises or whatever, the town people are delighted because, as Peggy said, when it was closed, they felt it. And, it was closed for many years before Arnold bought it. And I think the Davis family got involved back then too. It's just such another special part of our community. We're listening to you both tonight. Your enthusiasm is very exciting. Thank you. We're delighted you're here.
Thank you.
thank you very much for your time.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. All right, well, hopefully we'll see you at the show sometime. So, all right, with that,
Good night.
continue on in to our regular business this evening. And item number 7 is discuss and take action to approve a request from the Public Works Department to move funds from the Capital Improvement Highway Equipment Reserve year 2022 to 2023 to fiscal year 2021 to 2022 in the amount of $100,000 for a replacement road sweeper and in the amount of $27,000 for a replacement fire marshal vehicle.
Second.
Okay, great. Just a quick highlight. This is basically, we had an issue with the fire marshal's vehicle. It was slated for a future year, and rather than put money in to the current vehicle, it just made sense to pull it forward. So we're swapping things around in the replacement cycle. So I'll let John and Sam.
Sam, what'd you do to your vehicle?
It's the deputy's car. So we get these great hand-me-downs from the police department.
That explains.
There you go.
So there was some trouble with the car shifting. They took it down to Chrysler, and it needs a new transmission. It needs an oil cooler. It needs a water pump. And it also needs a catalytic converter. And so it's roughly about $8,000 to put into a 2012 Durango with 145,000 miles on it. It probably doesn't make any fiscal sense. So right now we're running the vehicle. We don't know if it's going to last, if it's going to go tomorrow or 2 months from now or 6 months from now. But the problem is if it goes tomorrow, we don't have anything for a deputy to drive. My car is actually now it's coming up on its 10th year. It's still fairly low mileage on it, just under 70,000 miles, which isn't too bad. But, and then the other car we have for the inspectors is a 2009 with 160,000 miles on it, I believe. And that gets used like twice a week. So it's not critical, but, we get this one. Excuse me one sec. We get this one move forward, would help us out of a jam.
Cars are also very difficult to get.
Yes. Yeah, we looked around. I called anywhere from Tennessee to Pennsylvania. I ended up having some luck with a vendor that Chief Drum used out of Massachusetts, where he bought his police vehicles from. And it's I think the cost of that one is just about $400 less than what the chief paid. So I think we're getting a good deal on it. And that one's around for immediate use. Most of them, Some of them are like 20 to 26 weeks delivery time. Anything with immediate need is really not the right color. There's one in Pennsylvania, but it would be this, by the time we get it delivered up here, it'd be the same cost as the one from Massachusetts.
And the other item on here is the sweeper. Like I said, these are all things that were on the replacement schedule. We just jigged in basically to accommodate this.
Sure, so the sweeper is in a similar scenario. It was slated to be replaced next year. And it's a 2000, it's 22 years old, we had a lot of use out of it, but it needs work now. And we're gonna need a sweeper in the spring. So the highway superintendent has been shopping around for a used sweeper. Generally, I'm not in favor of getting a used vehicle, but in the case of the street sweeper, the way we use it, very seasonal, intermittent use, we don't put a lot of miles on it. I think it does make sense to purchase a used sweeper. And we did find one for $70,000. It meets our needs. It's the exact model that we're looking for. It's very good condition, and
How would somebody be selling a used sweeper?
because it just like us, they're replacing. It's actually the town of New Canaan. It's either 2015 or 16. I need to confirm that, but it's 7 or 8 years old. We have the maintenance history on it. Highway personnel went down and inspected it, and I think it's in immaculate condition. They tested it out. Apparently, it's a pretty good deal. And if this vehicle was new, it's $230,000 for the same model. And they have 3, and it's a different.
Of course they do.
So they replace every 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. So and I think
We're 20.
we'll get some many years out of this.
Yeah.
And get our money's worth out of it.
Kristen?
Yep.
I don't see Stacy on there. Are you on the hot seat?
She's watching, but yeah, go ahead.
So.
I'm on here.
There she is.
Okay. Would we ever consider doing a capital lease on this piece of equipment instead of just paying cash for it?
Yeah, so originally in the replacement schedule, everything was rescheduled for a lease. We have going out for the next 10 years, lease replacement. As leases come off, leases come on. But unfortunately, these pieces of equipment we need to replace now, and we didn't want to mess with our lease replacement schedule. So we thought if we can buy these 2, knocks them off, we can add it to the end of the lease replacement schedule and not mess up, everything we have in line going forward. So if we did do the leases on this, we would have lease payments, and then we'd have to just reconfigure everything. We do have enough cash in the fund to pay for these vehicles and get them off, move them to the end, and continue with the lease program that we set up originally.
So would you expect then at the end of the life of this piece of, or these 2 pieces of equipment, that their replacements will be on the lease schedule?
Correct. They will get pushed back to the end, and they will, continue with the program that we have in place.
Okay, any more questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
New sweeper.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, I know.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam. Item number 8, discuss and take action to approve line item transfer request from the Human Resources Department in the amount of $1,920.72.
So moved.
All
Second.
right.
What is this for?
This one, was this because of the post, not the training?
Oh, there she is,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't remember what the.
Oh, here's Paula.
Paula's on,
Hi, Paula.
yeah.
Hi, Paula.
Hi.
So what is
Yeah,
this
so
for?
this was just because our original EAP was Anthem, and then last year we moved from EAP to BHC. They focus more on public safety groups, which is where the majority of our EAP needs are. So we made it effective for 7/1, but unfortunately it was after the budget was approved. So this is just reflecting the contract increase. And this has already been reflected in next year's budget, so it'll be covered. This is just to cover what's remaining.
And Paula, did you see, what line item is it coming from? What did I miss that?
Is it what? Sorry.
From Human Services Department. It's coming out of there.
Oh, it's coming out of there, okay.
Yeah, employment services, yes.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Item number 9 is discuss and take action to approve an application for a historic document preservation grant in the amount of $5,500 and to authorize the first selectman to accept the grant award and sign the same.
So moved.
Okay, and this is, I think, an annual grant that we receive, right?
Right.
And so I don't know if it was Nancy is here, but I think we kind of know this. Any questions on it?
Nope.
Okay. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Okay, item number 10, I'll kind of do this real quickly. I'll show my screen. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes, I kind of pulled this together quickly just to think through. We've got a number of, because okay, so each project has its own hurdles that we have to go through now that we've gotten through approval through the referendum process. The one that's probably the most time sensitive, although obviously Academy and Island are as well, is the Madison School Renewal Plan. And so last week we launched an RFP for the owner's representative, which will work with the building committee in terms of shepherding the project forward. And we have a selection committee that will make a recommendation that this board will vote on in April. And so that RFP has been launched, and we kind of pulled that together quickly because we're actually kind of a little behind where we need to be if you want to stick to that fall 2025 opening schedule for the elementary school, which is, this is all based on a timeline that was done last year, and so we're trying to keep to that as much as we can.
And who is the selection?
So the selection committee includes several town staff members, as well as I'm going to represent the board of selectmen, and then I think the board of finance will have Jean Fitzgerald on it, and then the board of education. I can't recall. We decided to keep a chair, vice chair of each board. They wanted to be bipartisan, so I can't remember who the board of education chose, but and we just want to keep it simple to just get this moving forward. So, but it'll be it will follow our normal bidding processes, and then this will come, the selection recommendation will come to this board of people. The building committee, which is going to be a critical thing. I don't know if you served on the building committee, right? Al, I don't know. That I had sent out a draft charge, which we can talk tonight. I'd like to get that voted on maybe at our next meeting, final charge for the building committee. And we can talk about composition and all that. That's an important thing just for the elementary school. So we need to get that launched soon because that will work with the owner's representative to go forward and hire an architect and really get the project rolling as quickly as possible. The Board of Selectmen will need to probably in March vote on approving a resolution to receive local grants. So there'll be some different resolutions coming to this board. Some will be related to bonding, and some will be related to the school application, I think, for grant funding. So those will be coming in March and April for this board. The other thing is we need to finalize the purchase of the property that the new school is going to be on. So we're going through the kind of final action items on the purchase and sale agreement, which is like title search and all those normal things you do when you're buying the property. So we can close either, depending on how quickly that goes, either March or April. And we've done all our approvals for that, so we'll just schedule closing and have a check ready. The other thing is we have to figure out, and this will be a longer conversation about how to, the schools will have, about how to manage the Brown and the Colson projects, because those are kind of renovations, you know, they're not really building committee per se, so just how they want to manage that and make sure it all aligns with what's going on with the new school. So everything stays on the same time.
Yeah, it's the Board of Selectmen that gets all the start, not the Board of Education.
Yeah.
Board of School.
Yes, it
Yeah, it's
is.
been so long.
Yeah, I know, and I was kind of surprised. I didn't realize that there was a Board of Selectmen, that it really is the one that's empowered to do all of this.
So it's a town building.
So they are town buildings, exactly, and the bonding will be from the town as well, so.
But we turn over to.
When it's done, when it's completed, we turn the building over to the school district.
To use, but I think it's still a town building, right?
Well, yeah, you know, when they closed the academy, they closed in '04, but they didn't give it to the Board of Selectmen until 2011.
That's correct.
So they didn't
Well,
have any
they-
control, they thought, you know, back up.
Well, and they also,
Just a quarter.
yeah, I mean, but it's basically, they're like a lease, you know, they're leasing, right? Because they don't actually own physically on the property. So anyway, so we have to figure out Brown and Polson, that will be more driven by the schools, because that's really more of a renovation project, so I don't envision us getting as involved in that, but they're big, and so we're gonna talk internally a little bit more from an approach, when we talk to the schools. The other thing is the school construction grant, has to be developed, and that will be something the owner's rep would work on, along with the school board to get that application process going. And I just realized I started typing, didn't finish. I was gonna say, and we gotta launch this, you know, facilities committee, which I don't think it's urgent, but we gotta start planning ahead for the, you know, empty facilities that will be coming online in 2025, and then school opens, we'll have, Ryerson will be demolished once the new school is open, and then we'll have Jeffrey, I think in Jeffrey. So that's more of, I think, late 2022 thing, that we start that process going, so we give ourselves some time. On Academy, we have to do the building committee, and I thought, let's get the elementary school done, and then I think April we target, we're already starting to work on some of that, and we'll come with recommendations about how to handle the Academy building committee. The revenue policy committee, I think also that's something we'll have time, but maybe in 2022, we start looking at that piece, so that that's up and running, and the committee has like a year to figure out the whole revenue piece and stuff when we're starting to open. We're already starting to put materials together for grant applications. We've already been in touch with our state representatives, and we're trying to get ourselves lined up really quickly, aligned for any kind of possible state funding, especially since this is the time to do it, ready to go. And we got the approvals. And then on Island, we have to finalize this tax fixing agreement, which is part of the purchase and sale. So the terms were agreed to in the purchase and sale agreement, but there's other things. The actual agreement itself is what we'll be voting on. And I'm targeting the March 8th meeting. So you'll see a draft of that ahead. Like I said, the economics will not change. It's just more of the legal document itself. And we hope to have that, and I think we'll kind of need to close that by the end of March. That's one of the terms of the agreement. So that will be happening quite quickly. And that kind of would finalize the time. So those were kind of just broadly the next steps. There's going to be a lot more going on, a lot of opportunities for the public to participate. So please, those who are interested, stay engaged. There'll be many opportunities to get involved in each of these projects. And that's kind of where we are on those. So,
Just a couple of thoughts.
Yep.
So I agree with you, we've got time on Ryerson and Jeffrey, but we tend to take a lot of time
yes.
to do these things. So a couple of thoughts with regards to Ryerson and its future use. I'd like to be an early suggester and suggest a community garden in the style of Bower Park as a resource to North Basin residents. It's a low impact use of the land and preserves it for some future building use should we ever land. So I think it would be a good use of that property that is not a big demand on taxpayers. with regards to Jeffrey, if we could get the school district and the Board of Ed to start giving us an indication what their plans are for the building once it's closed, that will help us begin our informed planning. So, in other words, please don't take 4 or 5 years after closing to tell us that you don't want the building, kind of thing. That would be good. And I think we should at least consider the prospect of tying the LaSage property and that property into a bundle and look at selling it with the idea of putting some of that revenue back into offset.
No, I think there's definitely, I mean, and when I say delay the facility, I mean, you know, we're not, right now, we have to look at the building.
Oh, I didn't hear it that way. I have.
I'm talking like, you know, maybe the end of the summer, we start coming back and getting.
If we do have time, I'm not arguing that at all. It's just that I know that the wheels of justice turn slowly sometimes.
You know, I think.
20 years in time,
I think we could set something up for some public discussion. You talk about Ryerson, we talk St. Jeffrey too, and I know what I've read is, we're gonna talk to Wayne to see what's going on with, universal pre-K. That's what he's.
That was the one thing, he said that they might, you know, if universal pre-K becomes mandated, go in that direction,
Which is fine. If they have a use for it, that's great.
Yeah.
If they don't, please don't wait to
Everybody
tell
asked
us.
that question, you're right, you know, what, this is another building, but I do think, I mean, I've heard affordable housing yet, Ryerson, people have been talking, so I think we really need to offer that forum somehow, let people come. We have the time to do, we should do it in our work. People are excited, let's bring them in and see what they.
But it all starts with the district telling us, signaling, we're keeping it or we're not keeping it.
Well, that's just for Jeffrey, right.
I'll, as the liaison support that, I'll bring that back to them and at least put it out there.
I think it would be good to get a more definitive timeline that they're going to on that decision too. I don't know if this is something like 12 months, or I don't know what the.
You know, John Michael Parker and Bruce, when we talked to him, they saying they could find out, is it something that's, you know, don't know it's in the hopper. They're talking a lot of children's things that's been talking about this year, but I don't know, you know, but I just think let people are excited now, let's get them out, because I think that was safe property, we gotta have it. We've got to make sure we do the right thing with that.
Before it collapses.
Yeah, well, and I think that's.
We've talked about it, it's not in great shape.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
I know, and we actually did an appraisal on that parcel to get an idea, you know, if we wanted to go in that direction. So I think, you know, doing an inventory of what we have and what the value is there and how we use it is important. So, I mean, I think we can continue our conversations of getting this committee set up.
Sure.
You know, and then, you know, because it'll take us a while to figure out what's the right structure. It's a lot, right? And we talked about it at the last meeting, so let's see what happens with what on first. So I can put it on the agenda next month, you know, we can refine the actual structure now that we know what they've been doing. The primary purpose would be focusing on, I think, the other properties, right? So at least we know what their purpose would be, so.
Well, as Scott brought up before, there was, I know it's on the social media piece, but there are people interested in everything. And new names that I didn't know came out of the woodwork.
They sure did.
And you know what, it was okay, and overall, the conversations were really very civil. Yeah. There might be some
90%.
Great, they're right.
And you will be advertising the availability of slots on the committee.
Yes, so, you know, tonight we'll talk, there was a draft charge I put out there, and it would be good to get board members' kind of final thoughts and have that voted on March 8th. So then we would launch the, so it'll be an opportunity for that elementary school building committee right away. And I think the objective was to have it mostly populated by people. If we can do that, maybe we'll talk about that at our next, if everybody's good on the next steps, we'll go to the next one. Which is discuss and take action to approve charge of the ad hoc new elementary schools building committee. I get it.
Second. First, whatever you want me to do.
All right, first,
second.
okay.
Bruce will second it.
Yep, okay, great. So discussion, basically, I sent the draft out on Friday to the board members. It was not, I missed the packet going out, so and this is not, I put it as discuss and take action, but I figured we would really I got some comments back from staff, like the Board of Ed would like to have an additional Board of Ed member, and I think I had only one slot.
Yeah, they actually asked me to raise that,
Yeah.
just having two
Yeah,
Board of Ed.
and I think they had actually suggested that, and I just, when I was doing that, I missed that, but, and also, you know, one of the recommendations, I actually looked at, probably 4 or 5 other building committees in other towns, just to get an idea of Clinton's High School, Guilford's High School, South Windsor, there was another town. So this was kind of a ramification or whatever of different ones. And so, you know, we just tried to be clear cut as possible, but most seem to have similar things in them. So I think the attorneys would just need to review this also, because it can get a little dicey when you get into these building projects, as you know. But they all typically don't have a lot of elected officials on it. They have mostly citizens with expertise. Yeah.
Honestly, though,
Yeah.
that to me is what made the library building.
Well, and I looked at the library too.
It was incredible.
Well, I don't know about ours in the past when the Board of Ed said lately, I mean, but that, I think honestly was always done that way.
It was just such a
I mean,
well-run.
I was on the one for this one, but I was on because I was in picture, like they visit the gym, they want. But one of the things that was interesting with this one, we were also doing a World Town Hall. And it's tough on the same thing as doing 2 buildings.
Right.
I want to make sure, and we had one pot of money, and I do think, always felt there was certain things we would have done differently from World Town Hall, if they'd done that one first. Well, which is,
And I'm okay with elected officials being liaisons to the building committee, but I think the building committee should be fairly autonomous in the sense of voting.
and you need expertise, well, you saw it, you see what the committee. Matter of fact, who was chairman,
Graham,
you know, the
he
first.
wants to do this one, by the way.
Well, he was the first chairman of the first high school, I believe, the first high school building committee. Gomer was on it, and he was on the one that voted down. I think he was the chairman, and he was on it.
So he reached out and he said, you know, he would raise his hand and offer to help, and you can potentially chair this. But he's done hundreds of schools in the state of Connecticut, hundreds. This is his space.
Well, I think the proposal, I don't know if Lauren could share it, or it's kind of a lengthy document, so maybe we just come back, you could email comments.
I'm okay with those. I read it, I'm okay with voting on it.
Yeah.
To me, just adding the 2 Board of Ed people on.
Well, I think we have one board, doesn't it have set, so we,
So
I think,
it's got what, the superintendent and then another member.
I'd be okay with doing one, 2 members, but not as voting.
so, right, so have 2 Board of Ed members, and that would take one of the public board, right? We'd keep it at 7, and then the alternate.
They asked for a second Board of Ed member.
Well, so these are non-voting
These are
liaisons.
liaisons.
So I would add them. I wouldn't.
Yeah, just ask.
They're not voting, so I wouldn't.
Oh, okay, yeah, so they wanted 2 liaisons.
Correct.
Okay, not as voting members.
Yeah, they just wanted to keep it bipartisan, which I respect. That's
Yeah.
great.
And if one can't make it, the other one's there.
Yeah, no, I'm fine,
Right,
I'm
you
fine
tag
with
in,
that.
tag out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if anything, we can always expand, maybe we
Right.
just add it here and other liaison members as deemed appropriate, maybe, so we're not locked into that liaison number. Because right now we have it tied to specifics.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
So maybe we could amend it,
So, I
or you
mean,
wanna think about this more?
the others, I mean, is that they're all gonna be public meetings, everybody's gonna be able to go, and they wouldn't be voting anyways.
It almost doesn't matter.
So, I think.
I think anybody can go.
Yeah.
Let them figure out what they want to say.
Yeah, I think
So 2 members of the Board of
they wanna
Education.
formalize 2 members of the Board of Education, that's what.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I agree. I'm cool.
So we're voting.
I'll make a motion to approve the charge as submitted by Ms. Lyons.
Second.
Let me just real quick, is Bill McFinn on?
He was.
Who's gonna
Tilly,
join?
you on?
Yes.
Oh, she just put it up.
There it is, there it is.
So if Bill was here, because I didn't get a chance to connect with him on my graph, I just want to make sure.
He had a question about how do the alternates.
He's in now. Here he is.
Yeah, that was
Sure.
something.
Hey, Bill.
that did
Hey,
not-
Billy. He's on. Okay.
Okay. Yes, Bill, so the board is comfortable with what I sent out, making the amendment for Board of Ed members. Was there something else you felt had to be put in here?
No, I thought it was fine, and I'm happy that you added the board members. That's great.
Okay. So the alternate thing I think is, the question is the alternate members. What was your question about alternate members?
So who appoints the alternates? Does the committee appoint the alternates, or is the Board of Selectmen appoint the alternates?
The Board of Selectmen appoints the alternates as well, and then the chair will decide what alternate will fill in at a
That was
meeting.
my question. That was it.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
They both can go, the lady, they both can go.
Yeah, they all can go,
Yeah,
and then it just means they get to
Oh,
vote.
did they get to vote?
Well,
If
there's
there's a
voting
vacancy.
members, but if you're an alternate, then
Right,
they would,
yeah, and we're talking alternates.
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
So, okay, so I guess then if we make that one amendment, so I guess,
We're amending the charge
Charge.
as written, including the 2 Board of Ed members. Correct.
so, do a second, there's a motion.
My motion, yeah. I think Noreen already said
Second,
that.
okay,
We were in
Alright.
discussion.
all right, so I think we're all good then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great.
Yeah, we're
Another
making
thing
stuff
off our
happen.
list, yeah, get that done. All right, next item on the agenda is appointments and resignations. I move to approve the appointment of Martin Brody to the WPCA for a term to expire January 1st, 2026. Martin Brody to the Inland Wetlands Commission for a term to expire January 1st, 2026. Denny Van Loo to the Historic District Commission alternate for a term to expire January 1st, 2025. Christine Nisano to the Youth Family Services Board for a term to expire January 1st, 2023. And Sherry Cody as the Central Regional Tourism District Representative for the Town of Madison for a term to expire February 28th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion? Obviously grateful for people stepping up. It's nice to get some vacancies filled.
Yes, indeed.
Great candidates.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your service. Next item on the agenda
What's
is,
your number, Bruce?
I have it. I wrote it down.
Oh, wow.
I was prepared this time.
Wow.
I don't know anything else that was happening today, but I have that. I'd like to move to approve an amount of tax refunds in the amount of $34,920.51.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's one of the larger ones we've got.
It is one of
I
the-
was like,
Yeah.
it's like, usually it's like $6,000.
Bruce keeps it graphic.
Okay,
Oh, there were a couple big ones.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Good enough.
Citizens' comments. Lauren, are there any citizens who'd like to say a few words?
No one has their hand raised.
All right, may I, as a citizen, may I just say, I do have a couple people that are interested in the ethics commission. Well, one definitely, everyone's thinking about it, and today was the deadline. So,
Right.
and one, she just texted me, she said it on vacation, I didn't get it in, so we'll be getting another application, at least one.
So why don't we extend it to the end of this week? Because I know no one's really focusing on it, to
That's
be
fine.
honest. I don't
I'm
know,
fine with
Lauren,
it.
how many have we received in?
I think when I counted on Friday, it was 9 applications.
Okay, I
Did you
think-
send
I think
out the
if we
list of
allow-
the applications, just the names?
That's actually pretty good.
yeah. I think let's just extend it to the end of the week, because I think if we allow some people to submit late, we should just open it up, you know? So I guess, I'm going to, for that?
I
No,
don't think you need,
yeah,
I think you just do it.
Let's-
yeah, I
let's-
think we can just extend the, application to the end of this week, Friday. Like
Okay.
5 o'clock.
Peggy, do we need to identify the next step?
Well, I think that, I'm assuming we would follow, the same process where we would have one, member from each party on the board, go through and interview candidates and make a recommendation to us, right? And I think we also appoint first chair.
Usually we do. I think we should.
I gotta check what was in that.
It's in the ordinance that you appoint the chair.
That's what I thought.
Maybe you and I haven't done it in a while, so maybe you and I should get on this one. Is that cool?
Okay.
We'll do
Good with
that.
that, the interview panel.
What's that?
Okay, Great, so then hopefully then we'll definitely shut it down Friday and then we can do interviews and everything in March. And hopefully by the end of March, have a commission ready.
Perfect.
All right, with that, I guess a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, thank you. Okay.
We got a lot done tonight.